happiness was a very, very rare commodity. And it was not in one's hand to achieve it. It was reserved for those who were blessed by the gods. Socrates made a correction in this. I'm going to take you on a journey through history lane. This journey will start about 2500 years ago. It will cover the 5 continents, various religious traditions, thinkers, philosophers, thought leaders, and saints who disserted in their philosophy primarily about happiness. We will start 450 years before Christ in Athens, Greece. Socrates, the first major Western philosopher. So at the time when Socrates was walking in Athens, the country was involved in a bitter, long-drawn war with Sparta. It was the Peloponnesian War. And these were very dark and depressing times where it was only natural for the people to conclude that happiness was a very, very rare commodity. And it was not in one's hand to achieve it. It was reserved for those who were blessed by the gods. Socrates made a correction in this and said, no, you can achieve happiness. Anyone can, depending upon their actions and the way they use commodities. So he said, like for example, money can be properly utilized to get happiness or misutilized to get misery. So money in itself is a conditional good. But happiness, he said, is an unconditional good because everybody benefits from it. So to get happiness, he said, you will need a variety of things. And the chief amongst them is inner virtue. Socrates' disciple, famous disciple, Plato. And Plato's famous disciple, Aristotle. The famous Aristotle, 1,000 years after him. These 1,000 years in Europe were called the Aristotelian years. That was the extent of his impact on European thought. To the extent that Aristotle said, men have got more teeth than women. And everybody believed it. No man bothered to open his wife's mouth and count her teeth. Aristotle has said it, it must be right. So Aristotle, he believed his entire philosophy was centered around happiness. In his book, Nicomachean Ethics, he says, happiness is the chief aim of human life and the beginning and end of existence. He also said that you will need multiple things for happiness. You'll need health, wealth, etc. But the chief one is inner virtue. After Aristotle, let's go now to Asia, China, Mencius, 2nd century BC. So Mencius said that we are all little fragments of Tian, the supreme power. And because we are fragments of Tian, we have natural inner sprouts of virtue. When we engage in virtuous, righteous, proper action, these sprouts, they enhance, they fill our body with chi, special energy that makes us feel happy. He also emphasized the importance of mind. After Mencius, let's get back to Greece, which was still the seat of civilization in the Western world. and we come to Epicurus. So Epicurus, he was an empiricist. As an empiricist, he said, don't tell me about things that we can't see, like the soul and God. I can perceive happiness, talk about happiness. What he presented is not the way it is interpreted in modern times. So nowadays, Epicureanism or hedonism is considered a synonym for wanton indulgence. But Epicurus said that your goal should be to maximize your happiness. So you do it, like for example, by being in a Mediterranean garden in the evening, enjoying the sea breeze and discussing subjects on philosophy while the harp plays in the background. While you keep the lower senses under control, not engaging in drink and wine, etc. So it was a subtler kind of happiness he was talking about. A contemporary of Epicurus was Zeno of Citium, who gave the complete reverse philosophy. He said, look, this idea of searching for happiness is wrong. Because you make one desire, you fulfill it, and another desire comes. Instead of that, you try to cultivate inner virtue. That will provide you satisfaction. His philosophy led to the Stoics, the Stoicism school of thought, which still exists as a popular perspective. The Stoics believe that you grow in virtue by tolerating austerities. So bear with difficult circumstances, it will enhance your virtue. And hence, according to the Stoics, a monk is one who may be poor but still happy, who may be sick but still happy, who may be in heat or cold but still happy. After this, we now make a move to Africa. In the 4th century AD, North Africa, Saint Augustine said, the reason why we are not experiencing happiness is because the love of our heart is all messed up. We are loving the wrong things to the wrong amount. You're loving wealth, you're loving family, you're loving your house, and you're not loving God. Saint Augustine said, first of all, you love God. Then the love in your heart will get properly ordered. And then you will experience happiness. From Saint Augustine, let's move on now to the 10th century. Abu Hamid Al-Ghazali, one of the biggest Islamic theologians. Al-Ghazali wrote a book, The Alchemy of Happiness. So Al-Ghazali said that the problem why we are not getting happiness is our heart is unclean. Just like if there is a mirror and there's dust on it, you can't see yourself. You have to cleanse it. Let's now move on to the 13th century AD. Thomas Aquinas, also called the angelic doctor. Another great Christian theologian, Thomas Aquinas, said you can get happiness out here. But the kind of happiness you get is called felicitas. And there is an even sweeter bliss that awaits you in the spirit world called beatitude, which you will get in the afterlife. Now, in the meantime, the Renaissance happened, new thoughts came, new philosophers, etc. Let's move on to John Locke. His thoughts led to the American Revolution and then the French Revolution. So interesting. from his books. Thomas Jefferson took extracts and put them in the American Constitution. And this word pursuit of happiness, which is in the American Constitution, is from John Locke. He said that liberty means you have the freedom to pursue happiness. After John Locke, we now come to Immanuel Kant, another huge figure in the story of philosophy. So Immanuel Kant left a tremendous impact on Western philosophy, and he took a stance completely opposite of John Locke. So Immanuel Kant said that, look, there is no point pursuing happiness. Because you fulfill one desire, it will lead to another desire. Instead of that, you should try and develop virtue. That is what will fulfill you. Come to Jeremy Bentham. His philosophy is of utilitarianism. So how do you decide what is right action? How do you decide what is wrong action? He said, whenever you are faced with a decision, the criteria should be, how does it impact the happiness of the people? We now move on to the continent of America. William James, he's considered the father of American philosophy. He was also a psychologist. He said, believe truly in a higher cause and you will find happiness, even if the cause is wrong, but you will still get your happiness. We come to the 20th century, Abraham Maslow. So Abraham Maslow, humanist philosopher, he said that we have a hierarchy of needs. Only when the lower need is met does a person go to the next need. So he said people who are at the top of the pyramid, who are striving for self-actualization, inner growth, they are the ones who get real happiness. Let us now go on to the year 1998. Martin Seligman. He is called the father of positive psychology. He said that if you look at psychology, for every one study on how to develop virtues, there are 17 studies on mental illness. So he said, henceforth, we will change the direction of psychology. We'll discuss how to grow virtues, how to become happier people, how to become more effective in our work. And that gave birth to positive psychology, which has become the dominant stream now. So that brings us to modern times. So in our journey, we went through the 5 continents, various religious traditions, various philosophers.